What's up, party people?
Hey, bitches.
Oh, my girl's coming in with a different approach today.
Oh,
Wouldn't have nothing to do with Bo Betty, I'm sure.
God. I hope he's not listening.
I hope he is. I hope he is, because that he's quickly becoming. He's earned a lot of points with me, so like I'm okay with him. I don't even want to tease him. I don't even want to make fun of him.
Poor Bo Betty.
But talking about stinky eggs, if you live in a city, like a big city, that has like the real tall apartment buildings and businesses and stuff, you have trash chutes so that you don't have to carry your stinking ass trash, 10 floors down on the stairs or, 5 floors down in an elevator with other people. Um, and Lav, you have something for us today that is something very interesting about trash chutes.
We do. We're gonna talk about trash chutes, and I guess we'll just dive right into that chute.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
So, the National Fire Protection Association has standards for trash chute construction and maintenance. The standard incinerators and waste, linen handling systems, and equipments has a minimum requirement that trash chutes that all building owners must comply with, in addition to other codes for the fire department. These standards include the size, material, the doors that they have on them, discharge openings, vents, and other fire safety. So they are pretty well regulated.
Yeah, which I imagine they have to be. I mean, we can't just have people throwing bodies down them.
So part of their requirements are must have a self-closing door. So they have springs on the door so the doors don't just stay open. Then the doors must be self-latching. So you have to actually unlatch them to open them as well.
Okay.
They must be I don't know what any of this means. Some fire people may know, but they must be ULB labeled doors with an hour and a half rating. So it's supposed to stand an hour and a half of fire, I'm assuming.
I'm gonna find out.
The other thing that is going to be pretty important to the story is that the door opening itself, at a maximum, these doors are 24 inches wide and 30 inches high. So they're not very big. The
Mm-mm, not at all.
the chutes on the inside, they go down floors and they are smooth, very smooth metal, so that it prevents bags and stuff from getting caught up and hung up on the inside. So it's very smooth metal that go down the chutes.
So real quick, I looked up what a UL fire rating is, and it's exactly what you just said. The rated labeling of an insulated safe, file cabinet, or door indicates the degree of protection that item has from a fire. So it's how much of a degree and how long it can protect the contents of whatever's behind that door. So winner, winner, chicken dinner, you grabbed it.
A lot of trash chutes deposit garbage into a trash compactor or an incinerator. And a lot of these compactors or incinerators have motion detectors. They're not constantly running. So they turn on and do their job either when it detects movement of a bag falling in, or some of them are on timers. So, every third hour or something, they'll do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's not an actual on and off. There's not somebody that goes in there and turns most of these on, at least the newer models, and turns them off. They're automatic. So I tried to figure out this door situation, and they're 30 inches tall by 24 inches wide. So originally I was like, my ass would not fit in there.
My head wouldn't fit in there.
But like after doing some really bad math that could be completely wrong because I don't math well. So the circumference of my ass is 48 inches around.
I don't math well. I guess you could say it just doesn't add up.
I don't math. I just don't math. So
I don't.
we got 48 circumference, which I think is the right term. So I'm talking around, the circle,
Mhm.
48 inches around. And then diameter, I think, is half of like a line down the middle. I could be wrong, but I'm talking line down the middle. So if my ass is 48 inches, the line down the middle, whatever that line is, would be 24 inches, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So with and when I wrote this, I had this all this like really intellectual stuff that I thought I was making a very valid point, and I didn't write any of it down, so I don't know why I did all that math.
I think you just wanted to know what the circumference of your ass was.
So, but anyways, what I did figure out is that half of my ass is 24 inches, and so one cheek could go down the chute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in reality, all joking aside, so these things are small. They're tiny. That's like you're going to be lucky if you get one good sized trash bag down it. And if you're like my son, that trash bag's not going down because he crams it so full you can't even get it out of the can just to
Right.
avoid.
Right. The most recent trash chute death. Now, these are pretty common. I found like, I don't know, 30?
30?
Yeah, we're not doing
30?
all 30.
Oh no, I that doesn't matter
Yeah.
if we do,
So
but
before we and I looked and looked and looked, and I may be the very first person to suggest this. So we shall see if somebody has heard this theory before, but I think because these majority of these there is, I think, and I think I have it in here to talk about. There is one that they have determined that it was a murder. The rest
okay.
of these, they say, are accidental deaths. And we'll go into like how it doesn't make sense for them to be accidental deaths, but my theory is that this is some sort of gang initiation. There is way too many of them for it to be coincidence and accidental.
Okay. It wouldn't be the first time that people did stupid shit for acceptance and likes
Right.
and
So
yeah.
either they're being forced into the shoot or they're being asked to go in willingly to prove their willingness to obey to become part of the gang. So the first one is Marcus Brown. He was 28 years old, and this happened on Valentine's Day of 2024. So this is the most recent one I could find
Oh shit. Okay.
in Dallas, Texas. Originally, the Dallas police said that when they found his body, it was an unexplained death. There really isn't too much on it um, that I could find, but the medical examiner classified it as accidental.
Okay.
And so everything else is still kind of pending since it's so new. What the medical examiner website did say was that he died in the compactor of the crash chute.
Oh, that poor dude.
And then the rest of the reports from the medical examiner have not been released. The Dallas police started the investigation about 1:30 p.m. on Valentine's Day, and it occurred um, at an apartment building in downtown Dallas. Marcus Brown, ironically, was not a resident of this building. And this is one of those high end buildings where you have to have the code to, or somebody has to punch you in. Like, it's
Yeah.
not one that you can just willy nilly go in. Nobody knew him. He wasn't associated with anybody at this apartment building. So,
Okay.
how he was in there and where exactly he was at in there to get in the trash compactor is still like it's still not been released. The police did talk to one of the residents whose trash was actually found on top of his body. So she went and put her trash down the trash chute shortly after he went in.
Okay.
And so I thought that was very weird that she said she saw nothing. There was nothing out of the ordinary at all.
And okay, so if he died in the compactor and she literally had just put a bag of trash in, was he not screaming? Was he not?
I don't know. I
Wow.
don't know what the timeline is of they just found her trash on top of him. So it could have been hours or something after he had gone in. There isn't
Yeah.
like a real timeline of how long he had been dead, how long it took them to find him. There isn't really even anything on how long he was missing or how, really anything, to be honest.
Okay.
The Some of the residents and the police do have some confirmation on they there was random clothing found in the stairwell and blood smeared on the walls of the stairwell leading up to the floor that they believe that he went into the trash chute at. But there's no connection at this point that any of that is connected to him.
Oh, okay. Well, because when you said clothes in the hallway
Mhm. Yeah,
and
there's
blood,
I looked to see if they did say like they couldn't tell just because of the compactor if he had any injuries prior.
hmm,
But it doesn't say whether or not he was clothed or not.
okay.
I couldn't find that. So I don't know if he was missing any clothes. It could be that the clothes and the blood have nothing to do with him, but it could be his.
Well, my first thought was drugs. So, okay,
Mhm.
was he out of his space, out of his mind, and
I mean, it could be. Um, there. I mean, that I looked for that too, and of course, nothing's been
no?
released. But it was only 4 months ago, so makes sense that there's really not too much. It's still a pending investigation. They actually haven't closed it out, even though the coroner, the medical examiner, did say that they believed it was a accidental death. But the
Hmm.
police are technically still investigating it. It's still an open case, so that makes me wonder if they have something more
Yeah,
because
I
they.
hope something comes out. I mean, even if it's just a report that
Mhm,
says, "Hey, you know what? We figured it out, and he was
mhm,
just dumb and jumped into the trash compactor." So
mhm. And I couldn't find. I tried to find like more information on him, height, weight, so we can get an idea of how the size of him, because that really plays a factor in going into a trash chute.
I would think so. Because I mean, you're not going to look at something that's obviously way too small for you. But again, drugs. I mean,
Hmm. Yeah,
alcohol, peer
that's gonna play
pressure.
a big factor in it. The next is her name is Jacqueline Elmquist. She was 24-year-old from Minnesota. She goes by Jackie. So this one is actually pretty lengthy, and this is the one that they found that it was a murder. So
Okay.
she was in Manhattan with her job. Originally, she's was from Minnesota. She was in Manhattan just for the night, and this is in November. Um, I think it was 2012 timeframe. She left a work dinner. at a nearby restaurant and disappeared. Adding to the mystery, reports surfaced that she was last seen entering a yellow taxi outside a restaurant in Chelsea, which was a neighborhood about 12 blocks from where she was last seen. She was last seen leaving the restaurant with her coworkers were at 11:45 p.m. And she was clearly drunk in this footage. She's stumbling down the street using the wall to hold herself up. So this eyewitness states they see her get into a cab about 12 blocks from this location that caught her on surveillance footage.
Damn, she walked for being so drunk she had to hold herself up. She walked a pretty good
Uh,
distance.
right. I mean, 12 blocks is more than a mile.
Mhm.
So,
Especially I mean, city blocks.
hmm she
Uh,
was found in the trash chute in Chelsea, the area that the eyewitness said they saw her getting into the cab.
hmm.
Or getting, I guess she could have been getting out of the cab. Maybe she was
Okay.
getting out of a cab there. I I mean, I'd have to go back and look, but she was discovered Friday afternoon. So more than 20 or not even 24 hours cuz she went missing late the night before. So she was found Friday afternoon. A video from the building she was found in shows her walking around the building using the walls again, like still drunk, stumbling over herself and trying the doors, trying to get in.
Trying so just any random door.
She's walking around the building and trying doors.
That's why you guys, I mean, that's why I'm such an advocate about either you have 1 to 2 sober friends in a group or you don't drink that much cuz look, I mean, obviously.
Right. The police have never released the autopsy, so there's no clear definitive if she was drunk or not, but just watching the video, it looks like she's drunk. What's weird is that the news report said she was on her way to the police department actually in Manhattan. So, where this information came from and who she told it to, what she was going to the police department to report, all of that is unknown. The cause and manner of death was pending an autopsy by the medical examiner's office. She was found unconscious and unresponsive in the trash compactor of this building, but she was still alive. The preliminary investigation suggests that she fell into the garbage chute. And at the time, they didn't suspect any criminal activity.
Okay, I'm torn
Mm-hmm.
because part of me says, well, maybe it wasn't because she was extremely intoxicated. She was trying to open doors. Maybe she, mistakenly, drunkenly, mistakenly went down the chute. But then the other part of me is like, there's no way that a drunk, especially woman, and I hate to feel that way because it feels very, sexist and but it's true.
Right.
Women stumbling around that drunk, they don't get good Samaritans that are like, "Hey, let me help you."
Right.
They get the horny frat guys at 2 in the morning.
Right.
So yeah, I'm torn.
The the parts of the autopsy that I did find say that she had trauma to the body and specifically her head. She also had shown signs of being sexually assaulted.
There we go. Now that's the okay. There's no more being torn. Somebody
Right.
raped her and shoved her in that chute.
The her autopsy also revealed that she was strangled.
Okay, I'm sorry if this sounds insensitive, party people, but I'm glad she was dead when she went in.
Well, she wasn't completely dead because when they found her in the trash chute, she was still alive. She was unresponsive.
Oh,
She died in the hospital.
oh shit. Well, maybe she was still intoxicated enough she didn't know what was going.
Maybe.
That's my hope. I'm hoping she wasn't aware of what was going on because I can't even imagine how terrifying.
Right. Right. I agree with that. The next on the list is a woman by the name of Laura, and her last name is Chodko, Prachoco. So I'm not gonna ever say that again because it's hard.
I don't blame you.
She was 48 and she died about a month after she celebrated her birthday. And she took herself to Paris with her friends for her birthday, for her 48th birthday. Her body was found at the trash chute after plummeting from the 27th floor in Union Square, where she was living at the time. New York security footage showed her entering the building that she fell from at 4:10 July 10th, 2018, and getting into the elevator, and she's all by herself. She had gone to a nearby bar to watch the World Cup semifinals. The doorman said she was happy, she high fived them, they all loved her, and she seemed in good spirits when she returned back to the building. A neighbor on the 27th floor, which I'm assuming the 27th floor is the floor that she lived on, but can't really verify that information. A neighbor on the 27th floor told police that Laura got home around 4:20 p.m.
Okay.
and noticed, or no, that Laura didn't get home, that the neighbor got home around 4:20 p.m. and she didn't notice anything. There wasn't anything crazy in the hallway. There wasn't any weird noises. 10 minutes later, after the neighbor got into her apartment, she said she heard some loud noises, thumps, and banging in the hallway, and she stuck her head out to look. She said she didn't see anyone, but saw a purse on the floor outside the trash compactor entrance. The police later identified the purse as Laura's. Just minutes later, at 4:40 p.m., a maintenance worker checked the trash compactor, which had become jammed, and what had jammed it was Laura's body. After a brief investigation, the police department determined no criminal activity was involved. Laura had a blood alcohol level of 0.29 at the time of her death, and the medical examiner concluded that the circumstances around the death are unclear. However, there is no suspicion of foul play. The manner of death is listed as undetermined.
Bullshit. I can't get behind that. I'm sorry. I no. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. There's no foul play. None. If she was able to get home and be okay, even though she was I had been drinking, I wouldn't say she was, unfunctionally intoxicated, but that no, that's lazy ass police work. Something else happened.
Right. And Laura's father believes the same thing. He went to the tower that her daughter had lived in, and he went and looked at the door. It's 15 inches by 18 inches. And he said his daughter was 5 foot 10 inches tall and that she wasn't super skinny. She wasn't like obese or overweight by any means, but she also wasn't a skinny girl. She was average sized. So 15 inches, like no woman's hips are 15 inches if they're an adult woman. Let's be real honest.
No, there's no way.
So he was like, how can you even justify that she was able to even get in here alone? Somebody would have had to push her, shove her in there.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have mattered if she dove in. That okay, that's the part that I have a lot of problems with, especially the ones that keep coming up saying, well, it was an accident. It was an accident. You just said at the beginning of our episode, these doors are spring hinged. I mean, all of us have tried to go through doors that are, spring hinged, and
You would
you,
catch they like, you would have your hand up and that thing would close on your hand, they'd find blood on the outside from it slamming shut on your hand or foot, pieces of hair from it pulling your hair out from slamming shut or something,
yes,
and
or
they've
you
never
wouldn't
found
be
any of
able.
that.
Yeah, or you wouldn't be able to do it at all because you can't get it into a position that it's open long enough for you to put anything in, for you
Right.
to get in it.
And most of them don't open directly down. They only open part way, so it's kind of like at an angle. So then you're
Yeah.
having to climb up over that like lip to get in there while trying to hold it open, and no. Unless you're really flexible. The
Yeah,
fam
but if you're that flexible, I hope that you're on TV and not trying to take your ass down a chute.
You're a porn star. Only fans.
We got to talk about that one of these times.
So the family hired the medical examiner that did Jeffrey Epstein's secondary autopsy, and this is the medical examiner that said that Jeffrey Epstein's injuries are more indicative of homicide rather than suicide.
Right.
You remember who I'm talking about? So they hired
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
guy. So his
Okay.
name is Michael Baden, and he reviewed the pictures, the lab results, the x rays, all of that stuff. And his report determined that Laura died because of homicidal strangulation and was then placed already dead in the garbage chute. This was, he determined this because there was little to no bleeding from being crushed in the trash compactor.
Oh, yeah. So no, nothing was pumping. The blood wasn't flowing.
Yeah, she was already dead.
It may sound insensitive, but thank the goddesses for small favors.
Right. It is still classified as undetermined and the police are doing no investigation on it. They did find that her shirt had been torn away from her body, and from what I can tell, it's never been found. They didn't find it in the trash chute, like it got snagged or something. It wasn't found in the trash chute, so her shirt is missing. It's MIA.
Oh, it's somebody's trophy.
Her family and the medical examiner have requested that her case be opened, but to date, the police department is standing firm behind. There's no signs of foul play in her death.
Why? I get, okay, we all have days. I have them, you have them, everybody, our friends listening have them. We all have days where we half ass shit. You half ass do the floor, you half ass do your laundry, you half ass do your job on a Friday. Put stuff off to Monday because you've worked all week and you're tired. But when
Right.
somebody's life is gone, especially someone that was not like a monster or a menace to society, you can't half ass that. You got to get in there. You got to do the work.
Right. Right.
Her family has got to be beside themselves. They've got to be just infuriated.
Right. And they are. They're still fighting it today. They have done, her friends, her family, they have done countless interviews on like Dateline and all kinds of stuff. So they are still fighting it. They think
Good.
it's her estranged husband that did it, but
It usually is. How often does a spouse die that it's not the other spouse?
yeah, good point. Good
Very
point.
rare. Very, very rare.
The next one is on a pretty well known um death. So I'm not going to go into as much detail as, because this would be like a whole episode all on its own, because there is a lot of information on her. So if you guys want us to do one on Phoebe, then let us know and we can just do her own episode,
Mhm.
because there is a lot on it. So her name is Phoebe Hansjack. She was 24 and she lived in Australia. December 2nd, 2010, she fell down the trash chute and it was determined to be a freak accident. However, there's all kinds of weird circumstances around her death. At the time of her death, she was in a relationship with a man named Anthony. The couple lived together in this luxurious apartment in Melbourne. What we do know is that she had spent the day drinking. At one point, the fire alarm had went off in her apartment, so she took her dog and left. And then she came back to the apartment around 7 p.m. And when she returned to her apartment, she then fell down the trash chute into the trash compactor. She fell about 131 feet before landing in the trash room. The fall
Oh,
did not kill her. The room was locked, so she couldn't get out of the room, and she ended up bleeding to death in the room because she couldn't get out and get to help.
I remember us talking about this one. This one hits me right in my meow meow. Because
There is so much, like, and I really don't want to like spoil it in case somebody really wants to hear the story. Maybe we should just go ahead and do it, because they in her apartment they found lots of different DNA that like glasses, wine glasses at different stages of being drank, that showed like multiple people there. There was blood found in her apartment. Her laptop was missing, her cell phone was missing. Like all of this stuff that shows that somebody was there with her when all of this happened.
oh, so okay, is this uh is this like different DNA, like two or three people with Phoebe, or like a party?
I think it was her fiance's DNA, her DNA, and then there was another male DNA. So there was
Okay.
3 on the cups, on the wine glasses.
And because they thought it was an accident, they didn't check her for sexual assault.
Mm-mm, no.
Ugh. Okay, what does it say to you? What does it say to you? That there's three wine glasses. They're all different stages of being consumed. There's three different people's, well, two, counting Phoebe's, DNA everywhere, and the other two are male.
Mhm.
That, to
But the
me,
Yeah, but they didn't leave with her. Like, they weren't seen with her. She went, and if I remember right, she went to, like, a little coffee shop or something with her dog while she waited for this fire alarm to be cleared, and she was by herself. She was by herself wherever she went to wait for the fire alarm to be cleared, and so where these other 2 people were and where they went when the fire alarm went off, nobody knows. There was also things like blood splatter found throughout the apartment, but not a lot of blood. It wasn't like an extreme amount of blood that would have said, "Hey, like somebody died here," but it was like clear that somebody had been hit or punched or something like that, like droplets of blood or maybe like cut. And her phone and everything was missing. I can't remember for sure if her laptop was missing or if her laptop was just wiped clean, like everything deleted off of the laptop. The sad part, like, about it is that she I mean, she was alive, she could have survived.
right.
She was alive, and, she was alive down there for quite some time. I guess the room was like a bloody mess, while she just kinda slowly bled out. And there's handprints trying to like banging on the window, trying to get somebody to notice, and like trying to get the door open, and blood just smeared everywhere. Her alcohol level, though, was a 0.16. And though that's more than legal driving limit,
That's not very drunk though.
no, it's not. That's not drunk enough to mistake putting yourself in a trash chute.
Do you think it's possible she was trying to get away from somebody, trying to get away from maybe those 2 guys
I think so, and
and
trying to hide
not
from them.
yeah, but and not realizing, like, the mechanisms of a trash chute?
Right,
Because 'Cause
and
I'm
think
gonna
maybe
be
she could go in and hold herself up and just close the door and hold herself right there while they passed or something.
or because I gotta be honest, I didn't know anything about building trash chutes because 'cause I've never been around one. So
Right,
I looked it up, and because when we were talking about it and when you see it in movies, my thought is you put a trash bag down it, it lands in a big room, and then there's, like, trash men there that, take
right.
care of it, but it's not I didn't think of it
No,
like this.
no, it goes most of the modern day ones go straight into an automatic trash compactor or an incinerator.
Yeah. So, maybe. I mean, it's plausible.
And you're gonna hate this. This is gonna be your worst nightmare right now.
Oh, no. Is it
Have
about
you
the dog?
No, I
Well,
actually
okay.
don't remember where the dog I don't remember anything about the dog, to be honest.
Okay.
I can't
I'm
remember
ready.
if the dog was in the apartment or not, but the dog wasn't with her. She didn't take it down the trash chute. The One of the workers at the apartment complex passed by the room, glanced in the window, and didn't do anything when he saw the lifeless body of a mannequin and just went about his business.
Of course. Of course it's a mannequin because people, throw mannequins on roadsides and railroad tracks and down trash chute all day, every day. Of course it was a mannequin.
Right.
And mannequins bleed, you dumb fuck.
Right? Like you didn't notice the bloody handprints? Come on.
Please, please tell me that dude is still in the unemployment line.
I have no idea. So the police first suggest that this was a suicide. However, after getting the autopsy and the intoxicology results, the coroner, and this has to be the most idiotic thing that a coroner could ever suggest. He stated that there was prescribed sedatives found in her system with the alcohol. He suggests that she was sleepwalking. I was like, I don't know if you've ever seen somebody sleepwalking. Yeah, they can do some shit, but they're like the complexity of getting yourself into a trash chute is something that a sleepwalker I don't think could do.
No, I
It
got
would
it.
close on them. They would put their leg in there and it would close on their leg and they would wake up or something.
And if she truly had that much alcohol and sedatives
She
in
wouldn't have
her
gotten
blood,
to the she wouldn't have gotten to the trash chute,
exactly, she wouldn't even have gotten in the hallway.
right?
Should have passed out on the couch or on the floor
And
in
she
bed.
definitely wouldn't have left the apartment when the fire alarm went off if she was in a sleepwalking state.
Oh, yeah, because a fire alarm is not gonna wake you up.
Right.
That's not what they're designed to do, huh? Sorry, I'm being it was just stupid. I mean, and coroners are doctors, medical examiners are doctors. So this is a doctor that is saying, "Oh, well, she got loaded and then she walked out of her apartment and consciously went to the trash chute to commit suicide while she was sleepwalking."
Yeah.
Oy.
So the blood in her apartment was never tested. They don't know whose blood it was. The DNA found was never tested. Her family, her mom, stated in an interview, no, she said she did not put herself in that thing because she was damaged and disturbed. It's not true. I don't know what happened. I just feel sure that she didn't put herself in that chute. Just because of her prescriptions doesn't mean that this was done by her on purpose. So it was the family that determined that because the police never looked into anything. The family came out and said that her computer was completely wiped clean. Like factory reset, nothing saved on it, no emails, no nothing, and that her phones were missing. So the police didn't even look into that.
I'd still okay. Another wild thought. Uh Dating app, internet dating,
Mhm.
meets a guy who brings his friend.
Well, she had the
They
fiancé that she lived with, but keep going.
Oh,
Yeah, she had a fiancé. It was one of the DNAs found was a man's her fiancé that she lived in the apartment with. And if I remember right, he said he was at work that day, which obviously doesn't make sense if his DNA was found on
well, yeah.
like a plate. I think there was plates, like it was clear, like around a table that people were sitting there eating and drinking together. There was plates that, were sitting there like they were having dinner and wine glasses and stuff, like they were eating around the table when the fire alarm went off and they got up and walked out.
Wow. Uh, Infidelity?
Maybe.
There's so many avenues it could go down. There's so many possibilities. But
Hmm.
it's sad because now you have a family, and let's just I mean, we're all the time blaming the spouse, but let's just for a moment say that he didn't have anything to do with it and he's heartbroken. So you have, these people that loved her will never have any answers and never have any closure because somebody just decided to not go any further.
Right. And they just assume. The next is um a man that died at a Jason Aldean concert, actually. Jason Aldean is the one where that active shooter shot up too, right?
I want to say yeah,
Jason
because
Aldean.
he was at the festival. It was a country music festival,
Right, right,
and he was there. So yeah, he seemed to get his he gets his act
right.
in a lot of
I know.
business.
It's like Jason Aldean. Those concerts are bad luck. Don't go to those. You'll either end up shot or in a trash chute. So,
Or or dating a steer.
right. So his name is Matt Barron, and he died while attending a Jason Aldean concert at the Cleveland Indians like ball field is where the concert was being held.
Okay.
His family didn't fight the accidental death. Instead, they sued the ball field for
What?
their son's death.
How in the hell is that even possible? He
So
died
they,
accidentally, and they're not gonna fight that. They're gonna say, "Yeah, he died accidentally."
so that they could get money out of the ball field for him being able to go into the trash chute and die.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And they won.
Oh, okay. Was it a win-win, or was it like a they don't wanna
It
deal
was,
with
they didn't,
with him?
they 125,000. So it wasn't very much. Let's be real
Oh,
honest.
shit. People in life insurance claims are bigger than that. So they
I know.
basically just the probably the owner was probably just like, "Here, just
Right.
shush."
Yeah, probably. So he fell 5 stories into a dumpster, and his body was found later at a landfill, like days later at a landfill. The coroner's report was released in September of 2014, and it stated that there is no foul play suspected. However, the trash chute is located inside a utility room that is supposed to be locked.
Oh, well, there's your reason right there. That's how they won. It wasn't locked.
He was also not intoxicated.
Did he go with friends?
Yeah,
And
his
the only
friend
reason
yeah,
I
he
was
was
gonna
there
say
with friends.
the
His
only reason
friend
I say that's because I go places by myself. So
No, I do too, but he was with friends, and his friends told them that he was drinking heavily during the concert, but his toxicology report didn't show that he was intoxicated. They couldn't show any signs of alcohol. But they
maybe he.
couldn't really determine it because with decomposition and stuff, it could make the readings weird, but
Right, right. Okay, this does actually sound like an accidental to me. Like maybe him and his buddies were fucking around and he's like, "Oh, look what I can do."
maybe.
Maybe.
My whole thing with it is he fell 5 stories, okay? And if
Okay.
you're in a little trash chute, you can put pressure. I mean, you remember going down the slides and you put your hands up and you can stop yourself?
Oh yeah, hands and feet.
You can slow yourself down. 5 stories isn't that far enough to kill you unless you went head first. And if you went in head first, it's probably more likely that somebody put you in there,
Or held the door while you dove in
right?
like an
And
idiot.
he was a big boy.
Okay, that makes all the difference.
He
That
wasn't
makes
he
all the
wasn't
difference.
a little man. He was a big boy. Pictures of him, he looks like there's no way he's fitting in there without somebody shaving inches off of him.
I don't know. I'm still kind of on the accidental, but out of stupidity, not like, oh, I tripped and
I think his
fell.
friends know. I think it was like a dare or something and they helped him. That's the
Yeah.
only way.
Yeah. And they don't want to be charged with involuntary manslaughter.
Mhm.
So, uh,
The next one is a Penn State cheerleader who fell 11 stories to her death after allegedly having a bad reaction to marijuana.
just pure marijuana. No, it wasn't laced that they know of.
Not that they know of.
There wasn't anything else in her system, just straight up marijuana.
Um, I can't remember if I found the autopsy. I didn't find the autopsy for this one. So there was no it could have been laced with something. I mean, and
Okay.
nowadays everything is laced with fentanyl, so it's
Yeah,
scary, you know.
fentanyl, LSD, PCP, all cocaine. Well, cocaine not so much, but all of this stuff is still very prevalent in our, drug culture society. So,
Right.
and here's the thing: she's a cheerleader, so she needs to stay very fit and thin. That could be,
She easily could fit, I think, probably down a
mhm,
trash chute. She
yeah.
was 19 years old, so she was young. Her name is Justine Gross, and she's from New Jersey. She was found in a landfill also after being missing for about a week.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So mom reported her missing. Her mom's name is Francois.
Francois.
Yeah, maybe. Francoise. Because it's not
No,
Francis.
no. Francine. It doesn't.
No,
I
there's
don't
no
even think.
N at the end.
Yeah, I was like, there's not even a France. It's all right,
Okay, well, mom. So
mom.
last heard from her daughter about a week before she was found, and she's the one that reported her missing. The the newspapers say that she plunged head first down the trash chute, and this is based off of statements of two men that she had been hanging out with that gave her this smoke and then watched her leap into the trash chute head first. And then they never reported it. They never said anything. They just went about their business. And she was found about a week later at the dump.
And okay, and there we go again. Here you have somebody that is missing, and so authorities go by, "Hey, does anybody know where, help me, what was her name again?
Justine.
Justine.
Mhm.
Hey, have you guys seen Justine? No, no, we ain't seen her. I don't know what happened to her." I
Right.
mean, my gut reaction would be cops show up at, say, my job. They show up at my job and they're like, "Hey, uh, Justine's mom has reported her missing." Oh shit, really? I was with her, you know, on Tuesday at like 6 o'clock. And, we had a share a joint. But at that moment, the small little illegal things that you did, like trespassing, having a couple, being a little intoxicated, being a little, high, is not going to matter when the big picture is you have somebody that's missing,
Right.
and you could be a clue to leading them to where they may find this person alive or unfortunately deceased.
Right. The the statements from these guys that gave her the smoke said she had a really bad reaction. She started to panic or whatever, and I was trying to take her back to her own apartment on the 10th floor. They were on the 7th floor at one of these guys' apartments.
Okay.
There's footage in this apartment complex of Justine leaving this apartment on the 7th floor, and she's walking like unsteadily. She somehow misses her her floor, right? But he doesn't like
Okay.
really he's not there's nobody going with her. Like they kind of just deposit her and they're like, "Oh, make it home," you know. So
Here, good luck.
right. So she ends up on the 11th floor instead of the 10th floor where her apartment is. And then the footage from the 11th floor, she's like running and she looks panicked. She's like looking behind her and stuff. Um and then the trash chute is in like a closet. So you see her go into this room and close the door. And then she just never comes back out.
And nobody's chasing her. There's nobody else on this footage.
Not that you can see.
I would think if there was, you would, so it would be noticeable.
Right, right. The toxicology reports obtained from her liver tissue, so I did find the autopsy apparently, dictated
Okay.
delta 9 um carboxy THC. And that's it. And some alcohol in her system, but not even really above the legal limit. So just weed and a little bit of alcohol.
And you guys know, because I've said it before, I'm not a fan of any kind of illicit drugs, even if people are like, "Oh, it's just weed, it's safe." Yeah, if you're gonna do something illicit, weed usually is the safest, unless, somebody jacks you up and, laces it. But this was just straight marijuana. She should have just been mellow.
Right.
She shouldn't have been disoriented. She
Paranoid.
shouldn't have,
Yeah.
yeah,
Paranoid, none of that stuff.
she should have still been able to function. I mean,
Right.
because what's the worst that happens when you smoke a little too much weed? You take a nap, eat a bag of Funyuns.
Right.
Mhm.
And so that's the last one. There's no further information available at this time on Justine's case.
Yeah. Do
And the
you
court
ever? Do you ever feel like sometimes when we go through these cases, this thought just kind of hit me. Do you ever feel like sometimes when we go through these cases, we are actually like the only ones other than the family that gives a shit of what happened to these people and like want to investigate it, like bring forward opinions and, ideas and because sometimes I do. Sometimes I feel that, we bring these cases because they're interesting. We talk about them, but on some level, podcasters and true crime enthusiasts are the only ones that care what have happened to these people who were loved.
Right. Right.
And
And her mom had said that she thought maybe somebody was chasing her, and that's why she ran and hid in the room. And though the footage doesn't really show anything, but there's no footage from the stairwells.
and there's no audio, I'm sure.
And so how does she miss her floor unless she's panicked and running up the stairs and miscounts, and
Right.
ends up on the wrong floor?
Right. Now in an elevator, it's easy. I do it all the fucking time. I will push like, third floor and you're not paying attention. And then next thing you know, the door opens. So you walk out and door closes and you look around, you're like, oh shit, second floor, you
Mhm.
know. But stairs, there's no way in hell you're
Well, and
gonna
I don't really know if she took the stairs or an elevator or not, to be
yeah.
honest.
I
Just
think you're
it
still
doesn't
not gonna be panicked enough to run into a closet, a
it
utility closet.
and to me, if you're that panicked and if there's an elevator, then when those doors open, the camera's going to you're gonna be able to tell it's an elevator.
Yeah. You're
And
not
this
just
is
gonna
just
see
kinda
her
like
running by.
she just you're gonna see something, like, most of the time, they have the camera set up to see that kind like the elevator.
Mhm. That's because funky shit happens in elevators.
Right?
Look at Lisa Lamb.
Oh, I
Let's
know.
just let's just toss that in there. This is kind of okay, it's not a water tower, but look, same thing. Everything points to she should have just been fine and normal, and all of the footage shows her freaking the fuck out and taking off.
Right, right. And, like, standing in the elevator doorway, like, talking to somebody. It looks like
Yeah.
she's talking.
And, I don't wanna, rule out, like, mental illness, mental health, things like that. I've read I've never studied Lisa Lamb's case because so many people did it. I just kind of, rode their coattails and read on it from that way. But you can't tell me that somewhere with Justine, somebody somewhere had not, or not was not, was not inducing fear in her. What if they were chasing her? What if I mean, maybe she had an undiagnosed mental health issue, mental illness, and the marijuana triggered something. I don't know, but I
Right,
don't like feeling that it's just us, kind of, and I say us as the true crime, paranormal, um, cryptid community, that we're the only ones that want to know what happened to these people.
right,
And that makes me think that these monsters that live among us that are taking the lives of people, that gives them kind of like an easy ticket.
right.
If I can make it look like she did this herself, and they are making it look that way.
Mhm. That's why I was saying I feel like there's more to it than that, like, trash chutes, people accidentally falling in trash chutes, and these aren't, like, preteens, these aren't kids. These are adults that know what happens.
Yeah, these aren't Tide Pod eaters.
Right. They're not I mean, Justine's the youngest one out of them all. Like, it's you don't hear stories. I looked to see how many, like, 15 and under deaths there were. There's none. There was 0. I couldn't find any.
And that's yeah, and that's the thing. And don't sit there and tell me, "Oh, suicide." Nobody and I start saying your right mind, but when you're suicidal, you're not in your right mind. But nobody is gonna look at a tiny ass trash compactor door and go, "That's it. I'm going to be crushed to death."
Well, and then it's funny because these people, like, like Justine, how she had the weed. Like, she could have easily gotten more drugs probably and
Yeah.
committed suicide that way. Or Phoebe, who had the sedatives in her system.
That's what I just started saying is there you have Phoebe, who's got a little bit of sedatives, a little bit of tranquilizers. They're probably benzos because they're probably prescription and a little
Right,
bit
they
of
were.
alcohol.
Right. It's crazy. It's
It's
crazy to
it's
think.
it's just not feasible.
Right.
I mean, drugs are especially sedatives like Ambien, Ativan, Valium. These drugs don't hype you up. They don't pump you up to a point where you're just going to go and wander around and take off running and do this kind of shit. They knock you out. They knock you out for a reason, so your body can overcome the event, the traumatic event that's going on internally, like an anxiety attack or you know a um a sociopathic, psychopathic episode,
Right.
schizophrenic episode. That's what they're meant to do. They're not meant to, not like methamphetamines where, you get jacked up and you go do stupid shit.
Right.
We got to do better, guys, as a community, as a species. You know, got to put the human back in humanity.
Right. I agree with that.
Standing there, opening the chute door, and like, I don't know, maybe it depends
I
on
don't
how
know
high
how
they are.
I and they're probably, like, waist high. I mean, they're
That's what I was wondering. Are they like waist high? Can you
yeah.
like lay down on the floor and put your feet in and kind of pull
No.
yourself up?
No,
I mean,
they're not near they're a couple feet above the floor probably, like, maybe 2.5 feet above the floor.
so that's not even really possible because you're holding the door and you put one leg in, you're gonna fall because
Right.
if it's that high, you're not gonna be able to. What else is there to hold on to? You'd have to
Right.
brace yourself. But that's like a feat, maybe cheerleader. Maybe
Right.
Justine as a cheerleader, but not your average everyday and not some big dude at a country concert.
Right. Right. I mean, I've had a hard time getting trash in there, trying to put a trash bag in there, and the door closes and catches the trash half in, and then, now here I am trying to open it, and the trash bag is ripped now, and
And there's
you
squirrel
can't even
milk
get
and
no, right, you can't even get a trash bag in there, like, easily, like
it's a hell of a way to die.
right?
Wow. That's scary. That's so scary. Because you don't even have a chance really to fight because you can't hold yourself up. It's like people get stuck in chimneys. You may start out holding yourself kind of up, but you're not going to be able
Eventually,
to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Eventually, muscles are gonna give out, and you're gonna
thank you. Yes. Muscle fatigue, a muscle tear,
right,
tendons, things like that. Yeah, it's funny in a movie and it's action packed, but like, all of us, well, most of us, I guess, no, Hollywood's not real. So
right.
we can't perform those kind of feats.
It's true. Very true.
It's too bad. That's crazy though. That should be on a list of like 1,001 worst ways to die.
Right. Trash compactor.
Uh, and okay, so it's funny is I was when I was looking it up. So my in-laws actually, it just hit me right now. So my in-laws actually had a small trash compactor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was thinking about it because you pulled it out kind of like a dishwasher or like
Yeah.
a drawer, and then you put the trash bag, you throw your trash in it, and then you tie it to where it's down past the top part, and you push it in and turn a knob, and it smashes it so that you go from having a large trash bag to like a small kind of cube thing. So if that's what an in-house one does to a trash bag, I can only imagine what a wall unit, electric wall unit does to a person, does to a human body.
Right. Who knows?
I like to look at gross stuff sometimes, but that's not one of them.
Have you ever watched Faces of Death?
I grew up on that. Are you kidding? We, my high school bestie and I, yeah, my high school best friend and I, there was a place, it was called King Video or Video King, excuse me, Video King. And it was one of the old video, the VHR, VHS rental places. And
Right.
yeah. Now, when you walked into this one, of course, they had all the shelves and they had everything. I actually miss those stores so much.
I do
They
too.
they elicited so much excitement, but they had all of the different genres, and then they had this one had a red curtain in the back.
Wasn't that
And
one?
that was okay, but here's the thing. At, King Video, there was 2. So you went through one red curtain, and in there is where they had the extreme horror stuff, like The Faces of Death, and then there was some other titles that you could tell they were hokey, but you couldn't tell Faces of Death wasn't like 90% of it, everybody I thought it was real,
Right. I did too.
and until I found out, the only things on it was the animal death and torture that was real, and then that just soured my stomach. But then you went through a second one, which was another black curtain, and that's where all the porn was. So, I don't know how they figured they were gonna keep kids out of there, but we would go in there and we would get each time, he would get a new chapter. I guess that's what they were called.
Yeah, I think that's what yeah.
Yes, like Faces of Death chapter 1 or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's what
Uh,
they were called.
Anytime they got a new one, we would go down and get it, and we would dare each other to watch it. And whoever turned away first, had to, like, pay for the pizza or the Taco Bell or whatever we were going to go get.
Right.
So, yeah, I grew up on those.
Good old
No,
Faces of Death.
I'm surprised none of them had a trash compactor death,
Right. Nobody ever thought of it.
or they couldn't fake it.
Mm,
They couldn't fake it.
true. True that. Hmm.
Wow.
Well, on that note, guys,
Well, that was a great one. Thank you
you're gonna
for
have to let us
bringing that.
know if
Yeah.
you agree that you think this is some sort of conspiracy, or if you've heard of any conspiracy theories that have to do with trash compactor deaths.
Or you know of other trash compactor deaths that we didn't cover, that
Mhm.
you wanna let us know.
Yes, sir.
And always give us a like, give us a share, give us 5 stars. Let us know what you like that we're doing, and if we're doing something you think is 1 star, just hit us up in the DM,
Yeah,
and
don't one-star us. We'll
don't
find you.
1-star us. Yeah. Uh,
But you
uh,
can tell us how shitty we are in a DM. Just don't mess with those stars, Joe.
no. But in all seriousness, like, if we're doing so like, you enjoy the show most part, but there's something we're doing that you kinda either wish we wouldn't do or we would do more, let us know. We'll take it into consideration.
Yep.
But like my girl said, on that note, catch us on the flip side.
Bye.
Going to hell is easy. It's getting out that's hard.